Hello and welcome to the quadrilateral family tree tutorial. What we're going to do today is sort of summarize all the things we've talked about and make a nice little diagram to refer to for the rest of the time when we're solving quadrilaterals. So once again, quadrilateral is any four-sided polygon. So the one thing we know definitely is the sum of all four angles is 360 degrees. Okay, so that's going to be true for any one, parallelogram, trapezoid, kite, rhombus, any of those. All four angles, all four interior angles are going to add up to 360 degrees. Okay, so parallelogram, and again, this is just review. We've already talked about these individually. We just want to fill out this nice diagram. So for it to be a parallelogram, we have both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Both pairs are congruent. Just a little bit smaller. Both pairs are congruent. Both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. Consecutive angles are supplementary. That means they add up to 180 degrees. Diagonals bisect each other. Or one pair of opposite sides is both parallel and congruent. Okay? And then continuing down, rhombus is a parallelogram with four congruent sides. So these are just more specific types of parallelograms. The diagonals are perpendicular. Okay? And each diagonal bisects the opposite angle. So everything that's true for parallelograms is true for rhombus, rectangle, and square. It's just they have their own special additional properties. Okay, rectangle, all of this stuff, and it's a parallelogram with four right angles. And diagonals are congruent. All right, and then a square is if a rhombus and a rectangle had a baby. Okay, so we have all the parallelogram stuff, all the rhombus stuff, all the rectangle stuff, and okay, if the rhombus and the rectangle had a baby, it's four congruent sides, four congruent angles. Four congruent sides, four congruent angles. All right, and then moving out of parallelograms, let's talk about trapezoid. One pair of opposite sides is parallel. These are called the bases. Okay, one pair is parallel, so like in this picture, this and this are parallel. Two pairs of consecutive angles are supplementary. Okay, so these two add up to 180 and these two add up to 180. An isosceles trapezoid is all of the above stuff for trapezoid and then some additional stuff. In this one, the non-parallel sides, so these are going to be congruent. These are called the legs. Okay, diagonals are congruent. And both pairs of base angles are congruent. Okay, mid-segment is, this is a theorem for trapezoid, so the mid-segment is parallel to each base. So the mid-segment goes through here, it's parallel to this base, and its length is half the sum of the lengths of the bases. So AB plus DC divided by 2 would give me the mid-segment. And then lastly, a kite. Two pairs of consecutive sides are congruent. All right, diagonals are perpendicular. Okay, two pairs of consecutive sides, so maybe like this side and this side, those are going to be congruent. And diagonals are perpendicular. Exactly one pair of opposite angles are congruent. Okay, so just one pair of opposite angles. All right, so this is just a summary of all the things we've already talked about, and now you have this chart